Welcome to our daily Forex market analysis, and this is for trading on September the 5th, 2019. Just a quick disclaimer here before we get started. This is for educational purposes only. Trading is a risky business, so please be careful with your money. As usual, we'll start off by taking a look at our calendar here. So in terms of what's coming up here, let's do a quick refresh. We do have trade balance numbers for Australia, which should be hitting soon here. And after that, not a whole lot. And then on Thursday here, so on Thursday here, we have non-farm payroll numbers here for the US. And then later on in the US session, we have final services PMI number as well as the non-manufacturing PMI numbers. So these PMI numbers, like we have talked before, these are precursors to our retail sales and GDP numbers. So if they come in below expectations, that is negative for the US dollar. So we saw the manufacturing PMI numbers that came in on Tuesday. They were below expectations here, and we saw the US dollar drop in response to those numbers. And then tomorrow, if we see the ISM non-manufacturing PMI numbers or final services PMI numbers below expectations here, we are likely to see a negative impact on the US dollar as a result of that. We also have one of the MPC members speaking. So with this speech, it will be more about what the Bank of England is thinking and are they going to take any monetary policy actions. That's what we're looking at. Other than that, we have crude oil inventories. Today, we saw that Bank of Canada kept their interest rate the same. They're actually, they did not express as much dovishness about the economy as some of the other central banks have done. So overall, a market took that as quite a positive, and we saw Canadian dollar go up. So if the crude oil inventories come in as a drawdown, that will be positive for Canadian dollar as well as the oil. However, if we see there's a buildup in the inventories, that would be negative for the oil as well as the Canadian dollar. So we need to keep that in mind. And then we have Swiss National Bank chairman speaking here, which will have an impact on Swiss franc here. Other than that, in the Asian session, we'll have the cash earnings and household spending numbers from Japan, and these can have an impact on Japanese yen. So something to pay attention to. All right, so let's move on to our charts now. So first off, we'll start off as usual, taking a look at our Euro US dollar here. Yesterday, we were looking for a move to the upside, so we got that. We had a bullish pin bar yesterday, and we got that move to the upside. So that's quite a bullish engulfing candle here. So bias here is bullish. One thing to keep in mind, though, this is into resistance, so just be careful with that one. But bias here is bullish. And in terms of our pullback, we could get a pullback into 1.00. So bias is bullish. I will look for a bit of a pullback like that, and then potentially a further move to the upside. So bullish bias here for euro dollar. First target is 1.1065, back into the support resistance level. Second is 1.1100. So bullish bias for euro dollar. Pound dollar here, pound has had quite a move to the upside. A lot of that was actually because of the Brexit stuff that's going on. So we saw that the parliament voted to get rid of the no-deal Brexit. So they do not want to go with the no-deal Brexit. And that was voted on, and that actually passed. So as a result of that, they will have to come up with some sort of a deal. Cannot do the no-deal Brexit from UK side. So EU hasn't quite agreed to that yet. So that will be the next step. But that is positive for British pound at this point. So pound was extremely bullish here today. a huge move up in the pound went through both of our target levels here. So at this point, we are bullish here. So bias is still bullish. We could get a pullback potentially into 1.2180 level, and then a further move up. So that's one. Or we could get a pullback just into 2210 area, or even 1.2200. So one of those. So bias is bullish, but I would look for a bit of pullback here before we see a further move to the upside. And then if first target would be 1.2300. And if it goes through that level, we're looking at 1.2380 as the second target. So bullish bias here for pound dollar. Aussie dollar, Aussie as well. We were bullish on this yesterday. So we got a move to the upside. So again, we have a bullish candle. So looking for a further move to the upside. But one thing to keep in mind here is Aussie dollar is still trading in this range here. So we saw a rejection from the bottom, and then we have seen a further move to the upside. And now we are bullish on this one, but now price will be pushing into the high of the range at 0.6820. So we could see price get into trouble here. So for this one to really have a bullish or to maintain its bullish bias, it would have to break through this resistance. Otherwise, it could go into the top of the range and then come back down. So just be mindful of that. But otherwise, bias is bullish. And our target here, first target is 0.6820. And then second target would be into 0.6850 level here. So bullish bias. And in terms of our pullback, we could get a pullback into 0.6780. So for now, bias is bullish. And the move that I'm looking for would be this, right into the top of the range. And then we'll have to see how it reacts at the high here. If it doesn't go through, then I'm looking for a move back into the range. But if it does go through, then I'm looking for move into the next target at 0.6850. So bias here is bullish for Aussie dollar. New Zealand dollar, this one is looking bullish here as well. Yesterday we were looking for a move up. We got that. Now we are into resistance, so just be mindful of that. Price is right into resistance here. So if it does not go through, we could see price drop from here. So just be careful. If it doesn't go through 0.6370 level, then it's likely to drop. So that's the cautious part. But bias is bullish. We could get a pullback into 0.6340 level, and then a further move to the upside. So like that, and target would be 0.6400. So bias here is bullish, and first target is 0.6400. Second target here is 0.6450 approximately. So bias is bullish for New Zealand dollar as well. Dollar CAD here, we saw that Bank of Canada did not cut rates, and the comments were also bullish. Actually, they didn't express too much of a concern for the economy. So as a result, we had this huge drop here in our dollar CAD. So as a result of that, bias is bearish. But one thing to keep in mind here as well is we are into the bottom of this range here. So price has traded in this range for quite some time. Now, if it doesn't hold below 1.3220, it can go back into the range. So we could get this move back into the range, because look at this move higher here. Price tried to go a little bit higher, and then we just have been range bound ever since. It tried to go above the range, but then failed. And now we have had this big move to the downside. But it is right into the bottom of the range. So we have to see a break below the bottom of the range. So we need to see a break, a pullback, and then a setup for the continuation move. So just keep that in mind. In terms of the pullback here, we could get a pullback into 1.3250. So along that line of caution here, we have a huge inefficient move here, and many times inefficient moves can get filled. So just watch out for that. But bias is to the downside, and next target is 1.3185 here. So I will look for a bit of pullback into potentially into 1.3250, and then a further move down into 1.3185. So bias here is bearish for dollar CAD. Gold still looking bullish here. Next target is, silver here. Silver still looking bullish, 19.90, and then 20 will be the second target there. So bias is bullish for silver. If we zoom out here, we see that we are into these areas that price has not visited in a long time. So just be careful here, because we could start seeing orders, sell orders there. So be mindful of that. But otherwise, bias is bullish, and 19.90 is the first target, 20.00 is the second target. Gold here, gold is looking bullish. We are right into resistance here, right into the previous level that price had tested, but this is looking bullish. So bias is bullish here. Now we could get a bit of a drop into 1535. So watch out for that, but otherwise bias is bullish. Next target is 15.65, and then 1565, and then 1580. So bullish bias for gold. Oil has moved up, so this is looking bullish now. We are heading towards resistance. We are kind of into resistance right here. So be careful because it could turn here, just like this one. We saw price turn right on the dime. So be careful with that one. Price has been trading in a range for last little bit. So that's something to keep in mind. Overall, there's a bit of a move here to the downside, a bit of a channel here. So that's something else to keep in mind. If it doesn't break above the high of today, then price could come back into this range here. But for now, bias is bullish based on the daily candle close. We could get a bit of a pullback, and then I would look for a further move to the upside here, and target would be 57.50, and then we're looking at 80.5 or not 80, 59. So bias is bullish, but like I said, watch out for the top of the range and top of the channel here, because if price doesn't break above, chances are very high that it can come back into the range. So for now, bias is bullish here for oil, but with caution. Copper is looking quite bullish here too. Yesterday we had a doji, so big move off of that. So bias is bullish, a bit of a pullback, looking for a pullback into 2.52, and then a further move to the upside. So bullish bias here, 2.60 is the target for copper. Bitcoin's kind of going sideways here. It is holding above this previous support resistance level here at 10,250. As long as it holds above, bias still stays to the upside here. And first target is 10,000 or 11,000. Second target, 11,400. So bullish bias here for Bitcoin. All right, so getting into our equities here. So bias here is bullish, but we are right into our resistance here as well. Price has been trading in this range for a number of weeks now, for all of August essentially, but bias is bullish. Just be mindful that we had bullish bias here and then it turned around. Again, bullish bias here and turned around. Another bullish candle and it turned around. So we could get into trouble, or we could see price get into trouble here. So be careful with that one. But otherwise, bias is bullish. And if it breaks through the high here, next target is 2960. And then further up, we are looking at 2980. So bias is bullish. Only thing to keep in mind here is we need to see a break, then a pullback, and a further move to the upside for this to continue. If it doesn't go through today's high, it could just turn around. So bullish bias here for S&P 500. NASDAQ here, this is also looking bullish. Now, again, we have been trading in this range, so price is heading towards the top of the range. So bias is bullish right now. And first target is 77.80, and then 78.50 will be the second target here. So bias is bullish and potential pullback into 76.65, and then a further move to the upside, 77.80 and then 78.50. Again, if it doesn't go through 77.80, we could see price come back into the range. So that will be the note of caution there, but bullish bias there. DAX here, this one is looking bullish. We did see price go above the highs here and it's holding. So bias is bullish here. 12,200 is the target. Actually, let's come back down a bit. 12,000, well, we're still there. So 12,200 is the next target here for DAX. FTSE, it is bullish. However, we are right into the resistance here. So I would be careful with this one. So my bias here is neutral, even though this is pushing higher. But if it doesn't close above 7,300, then price could come back down. So just be cautious about that, because again, as we can see, price has been trading into a range, but it's right now, it's pushing into the high, which means it can break higher. So the target, first target here is 73.80, and then we're looking at 74.60 all the way up there. So neutral bias here for FTSE, but watch for that break to the upside. Nikkei here, this one is also looking bullish here, but again, we are right into our resistance. If it doesn't hold above the resistance, it can come back into this range again, but bias is bullish, and next target is 20,900, and then if it goes above that, 21,000. So bias is bullish for Nikkei as well. All right, so that's it for today. Have a great trading day, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye for now.